Welcome back to Factorio Seablock and TSM episode number 63. Okay, where are we up to? Well, I will show you a couple of things. First of all, way up here, remember we looked at the idea of putting coolant into this, and I said, nah, I'm not going to do that now. Well, I have decided I'll do it. The reason is simply this. Basically, do I want... Will this give me what I want? That tells you how to make it. How about copper coil? That might be better. Copper wire coil. Okay. So if you use the recipe that doesn't use coolant, actually, oh, here you go. It takes 4 seconds in a standard strand casting machine to make 4, right? 80 molten copper makes 4 wire coils. If you use the coolant recipe, it takes half as much time to make 8, so it's actually a quarter of the time. 4 in 4 seconds, that's 4 in 4 seconds, so 1 a second, versus 8 in 2 seconds, so 4 a second, so 4 times as fast. Second, you use 140 molten copper for 8 versus 80 for 4, so that's a 2-to-1 ratio. This one is less than a 2-to-1 ratio, so there's a productivity boost. And finally, the coolant itself, you end up, in this process, you end up losing a little bit of coolant. So you burn base mineral oil to replace the coolant. That's a trifecta of advantages. So that's why I put it in. And here's a fourth one. It actually generates a minute amount of power as well. Because these use water to cool down. The water turns into steam. The steam can power some turbines, generate a minute amount of power every now and then. This setup can probably handle quite a lot more coolant conversion than we're actually doing, but hey, them's the breaks. I think this needs 200 to actually fire into action. It cools the temperature down a certain amount, then this one cools it a bit further, this one cools it enough for the then cool used coolant to come into here and be converted back into normal coolant. And I ran out of room to put in what I really wanted to, which was a mechanism to prevent this thing from making more coolant if this was backed up. I don't know if this actually is. It does look like it's backed up. Well, this one's backed up, but these aren't. Not sure if it just hasn't run long enough yet. But yes, this right there is the problem. I might actually, now that I look at that, I think I want to come back and try and fix it up a bit more. Also, we're only actually using the copper coil in one place at the moment, which is a bit daft, and it won't be how we continue forever, but we're only using it here, and in fact we're not producing enough just for here, so maybe I don't need to spread it around any further, so we might have to boost copper even more. Yeah, this setup would benefit from using an underground from there to there. Then it could come along here like so. Then we could put a valve in here. Do we have the right sort? Top-up valve. I believe that's what I want. If the output side is below 80%. Right. So you don't run. You've got 200 coolant already there. You don't run unless this drops. That's what we really wanted in the first place. Okay, fine. It's a little bit of a mess, but it will do for now. This is not 100% permanent by any stretch. It's just to get us through cheap science. Now, the second problem, and what we're really about this episode, is see this here? Copper, 4.8k. We're almost out. How much do we have over here? We have 2.7k, i.e. nothing. We're not nearly close to a full load. Iron, we've got tons of iron. We have 2 and a bit loads of iron, but copper, not so lucky. The only other place we're getting copper building up at the moment is here. We're up to 10k because we're actually doing some blue science. But as soon as the copper runs out, this will switch off again. So we're a bit reluctant to extend this, although I would dearly love to make it at least 8. I've never got to blue science in a game of Factorio with only 4 labs before. This is definitely a novelty. They seem to be going okay because most of these sciences are fairly cheap. But yeah, it's fairly dismal. So what we want to do is set up more copper production. We also need more circuit production, but that's a completely different matter. More copper production. Now, that basically means making another one of these things. We've also unlocked some pretty cool stuff, actually. Let's look at tech. So if we come down here and look at some of the most recent things. No, it's not in a nice order for us. It'll probably be or processing 2, maybe? No, maybe not. Maybe not. Chemical refining, thermal refining. Here you go. Chemical refining lets us do crystals, which is the next one along after chunks. And thermal refining lets us do purified versions of all of these materials, as well as recipes for breaking them down. And if you have a look at these, there is no slag coming off them, so they're actually like a perfect recipe. And actually that one has suddenly got my interest. Uranium ore. It's kind of pointless at the moment though, because I guess we're a long way away from nuclear. We need probably both purple and yellow science, probably some extra Bob logistic science thrown in as well with the fancy names that they get in this pack before that becomes useful. Is that the only place you get it? Oh, and tungsten ore is probably something that we'll start thinking about as well. Actually, that one's quite interesting as well. Mainly because I realize that I need to get to titanium fairly soon. But we probably need to get to tungsten fairly soon after. So that would actually solve 2 things in one hit, although we get all this extra nickel, which I'm less than fond of. There's another uranium, which is quite nice. So we can get titanium with 3 iron, zinc and nickel, which are kind of redundant. Or we can get tungsten and silver with 3 iron. Or we can get, that one doesn't really help us. This is the one that I'd more or less decided to run with. But it's only titanium. I need the boost to copper, basically. I need the boost to copper. Now, would it hurt to have extra gold and silver? Well, we don't have silver, so that's actually a bonus as well. And in a way, maybe I should make everything... I should get everything up to this level. See if I can balance the use of the products. Another way of looking at it. But I think there's at least 2 more processes over what we're doing, even with the chunks, to get here. But I kind of want to aim for this one to get all the extra copper and to get titanium. We'll see what that does in terms of giving us too much iron. So, yeah. The other thing is here, we have finally worked out we need to crush our geodes like we're doing here. And we make a huge amount of mineral water, which mineralized water, which I use up some of here. Well, quite a bit actually, I guess. And I've set up a wire so that this one will not convert stone to mineralized water if we get beyond a certain point. Instead, excess gets turned into landfill or sandfill, and both of these are doing that, and we have quite a lot of sandfill from these. I guess the real test, though, is what does this do? So if this is running at max, and I don't think it quite is, but if it was, we're getting 1,500 of the actual mineral sludge, which is what we want from each of these, whereas this one, the slag version, it's 1125 if these are running full time, which they might even be closer to it. So it's definitely not double, but it is a reasonable 20-30% better. Plus, we can probably fit more of these in than these. I could probably get 4 in the space that 3 of these are, plus these 2, and if we pushed things over. However, we probably need some of these as well, unless we want to make a huge amount of landfill. We probably need... Well, maybe we should just do these, see how it goes with the landfill, so that we can start massive expansion. And then I could turn off the landfill up here. Which is at 36,000. And yeah, we seem to be out of this stuff. I actually don't want to... Okay, so the next point is, do I then just whack these out and push these in? Which I think is taking kind of a step forward in terms of this being a bit, but not double, as effective as this. At the same time, we're removing something that we've already got and are using, so we're going backwards a bit. And we're also putting in jeopardy the hydrogen that we kind of need. Yeah, if we took all the hydrogen away, we would be struggling here a bit. You can even see these ones aren't getting fed sufficiently, so we're struggling even right now. Now that's with naphtha feeding one of these things, and the fuel oil feeding one of these things for when they get a little bit excessive. But now that blue science is kind of happening, they're not actually getting that excessive quickly. We're doing stack inserter upgrades, so that's good for all-round productivities and other inserters. I think what I'm going to do, we're not going to keep messing with this, taking step forwards and step backwards and reducing our hydrogen supply. What we're going to do is we're going to start... It's not going to be a complete exact mirror because it's going to be focused on the crushed geodes, but we're going to fill out this one and yeah, see how we go with a crushed geode city block. Okay, so where are we? Oh, you are almost out, which means science is probably about to come to a Smashing halt. I need to get rid of some stuff. I definitely don't need aluminium ore on me. Have a gift. What other gifts can I give? How did we get so much crap? I'm going to say I don't need that. Or that. That. Well, we can always get that again when we need it. I'll keep that one. Do I need that one? No, I don't need that one. We have a bit of space now. I guess that will have to do. All right. How are we doing here? Quite well. Let's get 9,000 sand. And get ready to go to town. We do actually have a path out to this city block, so that's quite good. My guys are on. I'm not quite sure why they're not doing something about that. But what I want to do is basically... So I need to leave a little bit of water up here. So we're going to do that. I'm not sure what I need to do over here just yet. All I know is this end. And I'm probably going to run out fairly soon, I would expect. Yeah. Whoops. Probably not whoops, actually. Probably all good. Oops. I do have a means of removing excessive landfill. So I don't think overdoing this is going to be that big a problem. There you go. As expected, we've run out. Grab some more. So yeah, the build here should be able to be put up pretty quickly. What are we in? We're 20 minutes in already, and we've done almost nothing other than chat and discuss what I've been thinking, and show a few things that have been built in between times. But running around to get stuff probably isn't the fastest way of getting these things done. But that will suffice for now. Let's go. So I'm also aware that there probably isn't a nice balance possible between these recipes and getting just the right amount of iron, copper, titanium, tungsten, all these other fancy things that we make. And there are some fancy recipes available in this pack. I am closer than I really wanted to be, but alright, that's what we've done now. That enable you to use catalysts to just generate a single ore. We may end up having to do something along those lines. Okay, that seems reasonable. Now, what I would like to do, this whole thing here without, I don't think we're going to need one of these, but I do think we are going to need this setup. I'm wondering with all these pipes if it's actually easier to do it another way. Do I have that full setup anywhere here? That actually looks like it, although I've modified that since, haven't I? So I want the modified version of it. I guess we just make a new copy. That's basically all that. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said copy, should I? We don't need train. I don't think having this here is going to hurt us especially badly. So I'm going to save that. Come over here. And just see how many of these we potentially could whack down. But before we do, let's try and at least flatten this. Alright. Now, one thing I might do in this area is actually bring those geodes that have no other purpose to line. There you go, the first problem. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I get a 10th there, I'm going to have a trouble getting trains in over here to deal with excess geodes, so that is probably enough. Which means we're not going to need that for now. The thing, of course, this is going to do is it's probably going to crash our power really badly. What I should do... Oh, these don't even have power down here? How is that even possible? Alright. Let's quickly get some power down here, and then I might have to take a quick break. I've only got the big poles 2 on me. It's unfortunate. This is why I want to get rid of that mineralized oil. It's building up. So I don't mind it being consumed. I'm guessing we've already run out of copper, and blue science has pretty much died again. This is nowhere close. Yeah. It's not happening in a very nice way. Very slow. What was I going to check on? Running up is probably the idea that I'm after. I realise we've got some unfinished business with plant science, this sort of stuff as well, that we definitely have not forgotten about. We know we need to do it, so we will. I'm all the way up there for something specific. I know what it was. It was large poles, Mark 1. Where are you going? Nowhere. Yes, copper is completely gone. Red circuits is struggling. All of our circuits are struggling a lot, actually. Here we go. I'm getting filled up with all sorts of other things, which is fine. I need these other things, so I don't entirely mind. Now that we have cobalt... Oh, here we go. Here I am. Give me the stuff. Oh, never mind. Now that we have cobalt steel on the bus, I could actually look to make the next level of belts and inserters and things. That would certainly be on the cards. This certainly fills up very slowly. Alright, so what I wanted to do was ensure, not so much there, but ensure that this power has actually been set up. Which means we need to run along. I'm using the basic poles because, well, A, they're cheaper, but B, it was perfectly designed with them in mind. Can I go there? No. There we go. We have electricity now. And according to that, we have tons of spare capacity. I'm not entirely believing, especially with the amount of expansion I have in mind, which is why I sort of lit up when I saw the nuclear option, but I know we're a long way away from that option. Might be something I target, though. So it's hard to know what to build first here. I might even pause and build out, I guess, all of this, and then get to the next stage. We can probably fit some roboports in here if I have some. Do I have any? No, I don't have any on me, but we could probably fit a roboport or two right in the middle here. We can get power to it and let them do all the work and just have me bury some stuff. So that's probably what might happen, because I certainly don't intend to do it like this. But anyway, let's pause for the moment and I'll rejoin you shortly. And to continue, I said I'd come back when we were completely done. That's not actually the case, but I thought I'd show you what I was doing. So, well, you know that I was using bots. I have this recharging pad here. Now, they do actually use it, although this is kind of my issue with... it's not really Bob's fault. It's, or bobbing about, in fact, as he's called. It's obviously the devs never intended there to be any other objects than roboports that do everything. So unfortunately, these kind of have to be almost directly on the... Well, they're trying to go back and sleep, so they come here first, not realizing there's a charge pad right there they could use. Which probably means we've run out of useful materials. So there is this thing here that it doesn't tell you exactly what you need here, and it can be a little bit misleading. So what I'm actually using is an entity called the Ghost Reader off TSM Outpost Builder that tells us exactly what's covered by the build zone here in a ghost form. So that's how I'm working out what we need, and I've been providing that into this chest here. So it would appear there's a few... I've over provided slightly because it was just rough estimates of things. But we still need 360 stone pipe to grounds and 61 and so I mean the idea of this thing is that a train just picks up from a robot, dispensed, make everything factory, but we don't have that. I know that Angels has robots that can do this sort of thing, but they're not part of the Seablock package, so they're not in this playthrough. So that's why we're having to run around manually. I don't actually have to stand here and memorize it, because I can obviously look at this from the other side of the map. So that's what I'll do. It's undergrounds, it's inserters, underground pipes, underground red, and a few other such things. What I might just do to check is... Normally this would refresh, but it's part of a system that needs to be plugged in to a... oh, there you go. It has refreshed quite significantly. It would be plugged into a train station network and updated periodically according to that, or per a GUI button. As we don't have that train station hooked in, picking up and putting down again will refresh the item and give me an exact reading of what's in that ghost area. So, we run back and get a few more items. I just thought it'd be interesting for you to see exactly how I'm doing it for now. We needed 48 of those. That would be why this process is not getting enough at a time. Oh, and we've used quite a lot of iron while we've been doing this. And we're still waiting on new copper to turn up. Let's see, we need over 100 of those. We only have 70. That's disappointing. Let it keep building. Back here. Still don't have enough of those. Now this is what I mean. You can just pop over to this, scroll in, hover over that, and you know you need some stack filter inserters. So down this way. They're probably starting to crawl a little bit in terms of the build. So I may even start building something else. No, that's not enough. Filter inserters, liquefier Mark IIIs. Okay, they're one of the... Oh, hang on. And I think I needed more of these as well. Liquefier... I don't think they're in there. Those are electrolyzers. Those are liquefier Mark IIIs. Probably more than 10, wasn't it? Yeah, it's 24. We need some... That's interesting. We need some Mark 1 and Mark 2 assembly machines. We need some Mark 2 oxidizers, maybe? Oh, I didn't realize there were a handful of yellow undergrounds required as well. Oh, and even some of these. I didn't realize that. Maybe we can pop up yellows as well. But yeah, what we're going to need to do is build the rest of the infrastructure over there. Okay. Those things. 5. I need 3 of these, which I have. Probably means while I'm here, I should probably look to get more. And you know what they'll do for now? We'll just run back with that, throw it in, get the bots to do their thing. How far off are we? This is up to 11k. Still quite a long way before anything good is going to happen. Science is completely shut down because there's no copper. A lot of this pipe up there probably isn't actually necessary. So, those, it was those, it was those, and those. Ones as well, I think. That I'm not sure. Liquefier. I can see if I can build any of these. I can build 3 of those, 1 of those. At least throw them out there, I suppose. In pumps. Offshore pumps, of course. Yeah, so when this is all done, what we need is basically somewhere to pick them all up, but the trains are coming in this way, so that might be slightly more challenging than anticipated. If we had a bit of that filled in, we could have trains basically going around here. Perhaps because that's going to run directly into those pipes, which basically means we need it a little bit further down, which might be the kiss of death on this whole scheme. If I get rid of this one, so somewhere around about there, the trains need to converge back, but that might not be possible. Yeah, that's the basic issue right there. Unless it comes all the way along here. No. Directly along there, which is no good. Maybe if I actually have it come in. So in that case, maybe I want the start to occur, I mean, even back here. Probably actually a good idea, because if you look at it, I know that goes that way. So that's work, but this could go like that. Since this is coming down. Then we need a requester requester train stop, but I spent all of my iron on putting some of these things out. So are we now? Where have you gone? There you are. Pipes are almost there. A handful of things, really. Do you have enough pipes? Yes. Looks like we have enough pipes. 14k, we've probably just had another load of iron. Still has 32k and there's still 9.1k only of the copper, so still a long way off with copper. I think I might just pause here for a bit because I'm just going to be running backwards and forwards a little bit more, maybe until we're slightly closer to the final point. So I'll rejoin you soon. And we've more or less finished our build here. I've hooked up sulfuric wastewater, I think. I've hooked all of it up. I've hooked up these pipes as well with the mineral sludge. What's this one supposed to be? Oh, sulfuric acid. Sulfuric. Oh, it looks like this bit gets missed. Alright, we better fix that. We haven't actually built what we need for the sulfuric. Oh, we don't need that. We don't need that either. I've also changed these to the ceramic filter recipe. Although there is an issue with that, especially if you don't change these machines as well. And that is that it's only about 70% as efficient. Have I changed it here? No. Changed it here. Yes. Show you what I mean. So this recipe here, you get every 3 seconds, you get 50 crystal slurry turned to 50 mineral sludge. This recipe here with the ceramic, it's only 35 in this. That's 1.5 seconds. Hang on. That's 3 seconds. It's actually more efficient. I don't have anything to worry about then. At least in that regard. Now I was finding that where I set up these processes here. Yes, I'm finding that it's jamming, and I don't understand why. It seems to be that if I run over there and clear it, it works fine. So I'm not sure how many filters that I should have in the system. Whether it's a function of having too many filters in the system, or maybe not enough filters in the system. Maybe I think I've got 3 filters in the system, and it seemed to work for a little while, and then it's just decided to give up and jam. So I don't understand, because it was working fine doing this sort of thing with charcoal filters, so I don't know why the ceramic filter should have different mechanics. It doesn't need charcoal added, but it's annoying because it means that we're not producing more of these coils when we should be, because we've got this coolant that needs to be cooled, and the used coolant is not processing. Is it because there's not enough purified water now? Yeah, that's exactly what it is here now. Yeah, there's not enough purified water. Dropped to 0, so yeah. We have a decent amount of hydrogen, we have oxygen. I am going to have to put a chemical plant back in here. Make purified water. Those. Okay. Probably means, where is it? There it is. That it's this way around. Purified water. Oh, we need a valve, of course, not an overflow. English talking. Top up. We need it. We already have one. Stop. We need a top up valve here. We only want to be doing this if we need to. Yeah. Right, there we go. Purified water back into the system. Oh, wait a sec. That was not the hydrogen to draw on. This is the hydrogen that we need to draw on. Yeah. We need to get... there is a little bit of hydrogen in there. May need to... pump it back up a little bit. That might have to do. Right, so this is the one that we can draw on. So that one. And that one. Power back. Okay. It's kind of wasting some of our hydrogen, but at least that should result in this working again. 2 there now. Draining coolant, probably because this thing has filled it up, so yes, but yeah, that's working again. Okay. That was the main thing. There's no more copper in the system anyway, so that's the other reason that's not working. So, yes, what I need to do is set up a process that is delivering purified water and sulfuric acid, actually. So we need some sulfur. I can't remember where else I have sulfur, but I know I have sulfur over here, so let's grab some sulfur. And we're basically just about done with that whole thing. There we go, some hydrogen. In time, really. Yes, I know there's tons of spare sulfur over here, so I guess we'll just grab 200. Hopefully that's enough to start things up. Probably should be using the train, but it seems that it's a very much longer distance to travel than running across the base. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten that we have the train. Without copper, we're not getting any blue science. That's still a long way off, and not building up any further until we get more copper. So we need to get this facility up and running so that we can get copper. Okay. So if I want... Oh, I need another chemical plant too. That's one of them. Yes, if I want sulfuric acid, I need sulfur dioxide, which means that we need a place to put the sulfur. Put our seeding sulfur in there, something like that, and then I need a source of oxygen, which is why I was looking up this. I also need a source of purified water. Well, there's this one. I might need to temporarily do this sort of thing. Do I have another hydro plant, or can I make one? I can make one. I want that. It's the saline water, of course it is. That's to put some purified water into our system. I need a water clarifier to get rid of the saline solution. And you need normal water coming in the back, so hopefully we have these guys. Nope, of course not. Offshore pump, we need some iron. Fortunately, we're not short of iron yet. I did notice that we did use a lot of extra iron as we were building this. If this is feeling a little bit disjointed, it's because it's actually been filmed over several days now. Just trying to find the time to finish off the build and then I have what we put together make some sense without necessarily having all of the boring bits. I guess let me know if you'd rather have all of the stuff about as I ran backwards and forwards delivering some stuff here, but I would have thought that's a little bit tedious. In the not too distant future, that hopefully the whole thing will end up being automated, but obviously that's not something, there we go, something that we can do just at the moment. So that should be putting some purified water into the system. Okay. So we now need some oxygen. Okay, oxygen. There's basically two options for oxygen. You can get it from water and have hydrogen as a excess product, or you can get it from the air. And I think I found getting it from the air, we get 50 in 1.33 seconds versus if we use dirty water we get 30 in 1 second. Actually, it's pretty similar. Although this is slightly better. Or we could use purified water and we get 40 in 2 seconds. Or if we use an electrode, we get 40 in 1 second, which is pretty similar. But I think the nitrogen will be useful in the not too distant future, but for now I might just gas it off. So I need an air condenser. Where are they? Here. Let's just start with a normal one, see if that's enough. And I can always ship oxygen in. It just seems that I should try and make some of it locally. Relatively easy to do so. Where did you end up? Are you still going? So, you can make that one. Sulfur rubbing. A way to get rid of sulfuric wastewater. Alright, but that's not what we're after. We're after air. And we need an advanced lab. Advanced chemical plant. I believe that actually is. Advanced chem plant, yes. Advanced chem plant. Unfortunately, this time we did actually have enough iron. If it gets there. Good grief. You are to make oxygen. Of these look much like her. Okay, it's going to be something a little bit odd looking, isn't it? Air separation. Yeah, we're slightly further forward than I wanted to be, so this isn't really going to work. Okay. This might work though. Oh yeah, we're probably just out of the bot range here as well. Yes, this is probably slightly problematic. Take that especially into account. But easily fixed. And the nitrogen, we will just get rid of it for now. Oh, what's that? Thermal water extractor. Interesting. It must be one of these. Clarifier. There it is. And our final thing here needs to be making sulfuric acid. course, these are all around the wrong way. If that's the case, then should be able to do something a little bit like that then. That's terrible. I wish you could define what actually goes in at which end on these things. The end closest to me. Well, then that should work, right? Can't mix fluids. I'm going to put you there. Sulfuric acid. Right. So you couldn't be worse as far as what I'm trying to achieve here. Right. Sulfuric acid. Okay. All right. That actually should be just about enough to make this thing start running. If they had power... There, and there. Purified water is maximum, which probably means we don't need this anymore. I'll leave it there just for now, just in case that changes. Sulfuric acid's not nearly enough. Mineralized water is already off the charts. And you aren't even in it yet. So, are we going to try and make the mineralized water localized, where I read what's in the localized content and affect these things accordingly? Maybe that is what I'm trying to do. There was a special filter type. That's not it. Check valve. Pipe section that can hold 1,000 units and can be connected to a wire. I don't know how that's actually better than maybe an inline tank, but let me do an experiment. So, mineralized water. Green wire. You don't actually have any. Or any crystal slurry. because there's... Well, you're getting a tiny bit of sulfuric wastewater, but that's probably coming from this one, is it? We don't appear to have any sulfuric acid still in the system. We should have. What's your problem? Not enough of this product. You need 60. Why am I putting a clarifier where I need a flare stack? Here. Flare stack, which of course requires me to run back. This is what happens when it's been broken up over a few episodes, and it's basically more or less before I just want to go to bed anyway, but never mind, I do want to finish off this episode, because otherwise I'm getting behind. Flare stack, I just want one now. I suppose, looking on the bright side of things, the copper is probably slightly closer to being ready to be delivered, but it's very slow at the moment, so we need more resource of that online. And it will be the first cab off the rank once this facility is underway. Okay, you're correct, because you're a liquid. Flare stack. I'm likely to need 3 or 4 of these, actually. Excuse me, actually. Okay, so you're still not really registering. We have purified water, but it doesn't appear to be a lot. We have a minute amount of sulfuric wastewater. Your mineralized water is currently fairly balanced. Why are we going up here? That seems kind of wasteful. Doesn't actually go anywhere. So far, we're not actually producing very much. You need oxygen. That's a good point. Okay. That was definitely part of the process that I had neglected. So we may still need an influx of oxygen, and maybe I could take it from the other facility after all. If our localized oxygen production is totally inferior. Yeah, that's kind of in the way. Why don't we put you here? Have you take from there. It's not going to work if it's following along there, so we need to really move it over here. Far enough over? I think so. Do that. Right. That gets us more source material. This one can probably go as well. That was all that we had. And now we are trying to build up some more. And it's a very tiny amount, and actually it's the purified water that we're missing, so we obviously need that going. Maybe I need a valve on that just to make sure it doesn't overload, because yeah, I will put a valve on here. Top-up valve, if that's an overflow. I need a top-up valve. I don't know why I end up with so many of the wrong sort. Top-up. So I'm happier doing this now. Yes, that's happening. And yes, the oxygen is way too low. Yeah, that's just not going to cut it, I'm pretty sure. Getting a tiny bit coming in from here. So yeah, we've gone way over time, guys, with a little bit of mucking around. That's why I didn't want to have all of this filmed, because we're kind of experimenting. But I think what I will do is I will actually throw in a train station here, and we will bring we'll bring trains into this oxygen. I knew I was well, I thought I was going to need it at some point, and we just burn it all off at the moment. But this process does create some excess oxygen, so I guess we'll ship that and see. See if we can support this process. It may need a lot of tweaking to get it sorted. And yes, I need to also try and balance the mineralized water, although that doesn't seem to be the slightest problem at the moment. Perhaps because it's struggling to do any of this due to the very low sulfuric acid. Anyway, I keep saying we need to cut, so thanks for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in the next, where hopefully we'll get this satisfactorily working. See you then, guys. Bye-bye for now.